Welcome to today's deep dive. We are zeroing in today on a concept that is basically the absolute lifeblood of any business operation.
Yeah, but it's one that, constantly falls victim to some pretty dangerous misunderstandings.
Right. We are talking about the sales pipeline. Because whether you are leading a massive corporate division, scaling up a startup, or just running a solo consultancy, your pipeline dictates your everyday reality.
It absolutely does.
So our mission today is to dissect what a functioning pipeline actually looks like, why yours might be quietly failing you right now, and how to permanently fix those leaks.
And to guide this exploration, we are diving into a really practical piece of source material by Nathan Davis.
Okay.
It's an article titled, Why Your Sales Pipeline is Key to Business Growth. It was published by the Sales Experts, which is a firm based right in the heart of London. Canary Wharf, actually.
Right, and they do recruitment, consulting, and high-level sales coaching. So the insights here really strip away the academic theory.
Exactly. This is very much a boots-on-the-ground look at what actually drives revenue in the real market.
And Davis, he doesn't pull any punches at all. Right at the top of the material, he offers this striking visual that immediately reframes the whole conversation.
Yeah, it's a great image.
He says to imagine a photograph of a dark, ribbed, metallic tunnel just spiraling down into pitch blackness.
Yeah.
It looks less like a pipe delivering something of value and a lot more like a drain.
Which anchors his bold opening claim.
Right. That most sales pipelines aren't pipelines at all. They are drains. They are actively leaking effort, leaking money, and just hemorrhaging opportunities because the activity meant to fill them is totally inconsistent.
Or fundamentally mismanaged.
Okay, let's unpack this, because looking at your business's primary revenue engine and realizing it might actually be a drain is quite the wake-up call for anyone listening today.
It really is a phenomenal metaphor. And it perfectly sets the stage for a philosophy Davis champions, which comes directly from his background in sales.
It's a pretty aggressive approach, isn't it?
It's unapologetically straightforward. And honestly, a bit ruthless. He argues that a business must prioritize the sales process above almost everything else.
Wow.
In fact, he takes it a step further with a principle that can make operators very uncomfortable. He says you need to focus on the sales process first, sell it first, and then figure out how to deliver it later.
Wait, sell it before you even know how to deliver it. I have to push back on that.
I knew you would.
Doesn't that risk your entire reputation? If I go out and sell a service or a product I haven't fully built yet, aren't I just setting myself up for a massive disaster with the client?
It sounds totally reckless on the surface.
Yeah.
But when you dig into the underlying strategy, it's actually a defense mechanism against a very specific type of business failure.
Okay, how so?
Well, Davis isn't advocating for scamming people or promising the impossible. He is targeting a phenomenon we could call productive procrastination.
Oh.
Too many companies, especially the newer ones, get entirely bogged down in perfecting their internal processes.
Yeah.
They spend months agonizing over the perfect delivery mechanisms.
Setting up complex admin software, tweaking a product feature in a total vacuum.
Exactly. They are hiding behind administrative busywork, perfecting a product that literally nobody has actually agreed to buy yet.
So they basically build the perfect delivery system for a completely empty pipeline.
You nailed it. Davis is arguing that without sales, those pristine internal processes have nothing to process.
Right.
Selling it first forces the issue. It validates the market actually wants what you are offering.
And once the revenue is secured and the demand is real, the pressure to deliver creates the necessary momentum.
Yes, you build out the operational side efficiently rather than just theoretically.
That shifts the perspective entirely. It treats sales as the engine of product development, not just the caboose dragging behind it. So if we are redefining the importance of the pipeline like this, how does Davis actually map out the mechanics of it? We all know the basics of moving a prospect along, but how does the source define the progression?
The baseline definition he uses is simply the step-by-step process of turning complete strangers into paying customers.
Okay.
And he maps out the standard 6 stages most businesses operate within: creating awareness, connecting with the prospect,
Identifying their need, closing the sale, delivering the product, and finally collecting payment.
right?
Which is a very standard progression.
Yeah.
For anyone who has spent time in business, those 6 steps are probably permanently burned into their brain.
They are the universal baseline. What's fascinating here is the crucial distinction Davis makes regarding those steps.
Which is?
The magic of business growth does not live in having those 6 stages neatly drawn on a whiteboard. The actual health of your pipeline and really the survival of your business does not depend on the structure itself. It depends entirely on the velocity, the quality, and the relentless consistency of the activity you are shoving into the front end of that structure.
And that leads right into what I consider the biggest aha moment in the entire text. It fundamentally changes how you view your calendar. And it all revolves around a hidden time delay.
The silent killer metric.
Yes. Davis reveals this metric that is just terrifying if you aren't prepared for it. In most industries, the average buying cycle runs about 3 months.
That 3-month lag creates a devastating illusion of safety for a lot of professionals.
It really does. It completely disconnects the cause from the effect.
Yes.
It's exactly like eating junk food. If you eat a dozen donuts today, you don't instantly gain 5 pounds by dinner time.
Right, you feel fine.
You feel completely fine today. The consequence shows up on the scale a month later. The sales pipeline operates on that exact same delayed mechanism. If you stop prospecting and marketing this week, your bank account doesn't feel the hit today.
You might actually feel incredibly busy and successful today.
But you will feel the devastating pain of that inaction 3 months from now. And by the time you feel it, you are already 90 days behind on fixing it.
This creates the classic boom and bust trap that Davis describes in such vivid detail.
Let's walk through that trap.
Okay, so it is a trap born of success. Imagine a consultancy that lands a massive contract. Suddenly, everyone is swamped with the actual work.
So they pour all their energy into step 5 of the pipeline, the delivery.
Right. Because there are only so many hours in the day, the first thing that gets dropped is step 1, creating awareness and prospecting.
The sales department effectively shuts down because the delivery department is operating at maximum capacity.
And that is the fatal error. The pipeline dries up while everyone is busy celebrating the current workload. You are incredibly busy right now, but mathematically, you are out of business in 90 days. You just don't realize it yet.
And then, 3 months down the line, that massive project wraps up.
You look at the horizon, and it is completely empty. That is when the panic sets in.
The downward spiral begins. Because when a company is staring at an empty pipeline and payroll is looming, they start making decisions driven entirely by fear.
Yep.
Davis points out that panicked companies instantly slash their prices just to get any amount of cash through the door.
Or they suddenly pump money into desperate, poorly planned advertising campaigns, hoping for some kind of silver bullet.
Both of which do massive long-term damage. Slashing prices compresses your margins, which means you have to work twice as hard just to survive.
Worse, it erodes your brand value. The market starts to see you as a discount option, or they just sense the desperation.
And you enter a vicious roller coaster cycle of feast and famine, constantly swinging from being overwhelmed with work to being absolutely terrified of bankruptcy.
And Davis specifically highlights who is most vulnerable to this.
Right. It's the small business owner, the solo consultant, the creative agency. Basically, any environment where the owner is wearing multiple hats.
Serving as both the primary service provider and the chief salesperson.
Because if you are the one doing the heavy lifting for the client, finding the time to simultaneously hunt for the next client feels physically impossible.
It does.
The text warns that for these owner-operators, the boom and bust cycle isn't just stressful, it is frequently deadly to the business.
Which is why the cure he prescribes is non-negotiable.
Okay, what is the cure?
To break the feast and famine trap, you have to adopt the rule of consistency. Never stop selling.
Never.
You must keep investing time, energy, and resources in lead generation, even when you are at absolute full capacity, even when you literally could not take on another client if they begged you.
You still have to be selling for tomorrow.
Exactly.
But practically speaking, if an agency owner is already pulling 80-hour weeks delivering a project, telling them to never stop selling just sounds like a recipe for instant burnout. Where does the time come from?
It comes from aggressively buying back your time. Davis notes that maintaining this necessary consistency requires real structural changes.
Like what?
You have to outsource lower-level work. You delegate delivery tasks to contractors or junior staff, or you aggressively implement automation.
So you have to sacrifice some of the immediate control over the delivery side so that you can keep the front end of the pipeline permanently fueled.
Predictable revenue demands that sacrifice.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Davis doesn't just leave us with the abstract advice to simply sell more.
No, he gets very practical.
He breaks down the mechanics. If the goal is to build an engine that runs consistently, he outlines 5 specific pillars of activity you need to master.
Yeah, looking closely at these pillars, it becomes clear that he isn't talking about passive marketing. He's talking about aggressive, targeted pipeline building.
Let's look at the first pillar, social media marketing.
This is a great example of where people get it wrong. Social media, in a pipeline context, is not about vanity metrics.
It's not about tweeting inspirational quotes or casually posting company updates.
No. Davis emphasizes that social media must be an active sales strategy. Its sole purpose is to drive qualified visitors to your ecosystem.
Which requires highly targeted content, active engagement with the right demographic, and most importantly, clear, direct calls to action.
You have to provide a mechanism that pulls a prospect off the social feed and drops them directly into the awareness stage of your pipeline.
The distinction between making noise and executing a strategy is huge there.
Huge.
The second pillar he details is networking, and he attaches a very important qualifier here. Networking that works.
Because we have all been to those terrible industry events where everyone is just trading business cards and drinking bad wine.
Hoping something magical happens.
Exactly. Davis warns against that completely because that type of networking is passive. To make networking work for your pipeline, it has to be a targeted mission.
You have to rigorously curate which events you attend based on where your actual prospects or highly valuable connectors spend their time.
You prepare in advance. You know exactly who you want to speak with, and you treat the room as a pipeline building environment, not a social hour.
You are there to initiate the connection phase of the 6-step process.
Precisely.
That brings us to the third pillar, smart SEO, or search engine optimization. What stands out here is how Davis frames this for the lean operation.
You don't need a massive corporate budget to compete. You just need to be smarter about intent.
The strategy is to focus relentlessly on the actual specific keywords that your prospects are typing into a search bar when they are in pain.
The intent behind the search is everything. If you are a graphic designer, you shouldn't waste resources trying to rank for the broad term design.
Right?
You want to rank for urgent pitch deck redesign London. That is a high intent keyword.
A prospect searching for that specific phrase is already problem aware and actively looking for a solution right now.
They are primed to drop straight into the middle of your pipeline. Optimizing for those specific painful problems ensures your business captures the highest quality awareness.
The fourth pillar is leveraging connections for referrals. This is about looking at the audience you have already accumulated.
Your past clients, your LinkedIn connections, industry peers.
And actively transforming them into a referral engine. You aren't just hoping they mention your name if someone asks.
Right. You are systematically cultivating that network, staying top of mind, and proactively creating pathways for them to introduce strangers into your pipeline.
You are essentially turning your existing network into a decentralized sales force.
And that proactive mindset leads directly into the fifth and final pillar, outbound selling.
The ultimate antidote to the passive waiting game.
You cannot sit around hoping the market miraculously discovers your website. You have to develop an outbound approach that actively goes out and taps prospects on the shoulder.
Davis notes that the specific method, whether that is picking up the phone for cold calls, running targeted cold email campaigns, or executing direct outreach via LinkedIn, matters less than the philosophy behind it.
You take the fight to the market.
You can really feel how deeply ingrained this proactive, almost aggressive sales culture is within the source material.
Oh, absolutely.
Just glancing at some of the other resources and programs offered by the sales experts, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, they run a Rainmaker cold call magic program.
They publish guides on how to sell like a millionaire and offer deep dive courses on complete telephone selling techniques.
They are not sitting by the phone waiting for it to ring. They are actively making it ring.
That is the energy required to force a pipeline to stay full.
It requires an assertive posture. You take absolute control over your revenue generation rather than allowing broader market conditions to dictate your fate.
So what does this all mean? If a listener actually commits to this, if they buy back their time, master their high-intent SEO, build a real referral engine, and conquer the emotional hurdle of outbound selling.
What is the ultimate payoff?
Yeah. Aside from just making more money, how does this fundamentally change the reality of running the business?
The transformation is structural. A consistently managed pipeline yields several massive operational advantages, and the most immediate is predictable revenue.
Okay.
When you have a mathematical understanding of your pipeline, knowing that X number of outreach emails results in Y number of conversations, which yields Z number of closed deals, you eliminate the guesswork.
You can forecast your quarter with real accuracy,
Exactly.
which naturally eliminates the panic-driven decisions we talked about earlier. If your revenue is predictable, you stop throwing money at desperate advertising, and you absolutely stop slashing your
Knit
prices.
margins stay strong.
And your brand value remains premium because you always know there is another qualified prospect right behind the current one.
Furthermore, Davis highlights a strategic advantage that often gets overlooked: agility.
Agility.
A full, constantly moving pipeline acts as an early warning system. When you're consistently monitoring the quality and the behavior of the leads entering stage 1, you immediately notice if the market shifts.
Oh, I see.
If a specific objection suddenly starts popping up, or a historically strong lead source dries up, you see that data months before it actually impacts your bank account.
You get the luxury of pivoting proactively. You can adjust your messaging, tweak your service, or target a new demographic long before the pain hits your bottom line.
You are steering the ship while looking at the horizon, instead of just frantically bailing water down in the engine room.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it validates Davis's ultimate argument in the text.
It really does. When you eliminate the drain, when you implement the 5 pillars of consistent activity, and you fiercely protect the front end of that pipeline, business growth ceases to be a mystery.
It isn't a matter of luck, or hoping you go viral, or waiting for the economy to cooperate.
Growth becomes inevitable. It transforms into a simple mathematical output of a healthy, relentless system.
It takes the chaos of business and distills it down into manageable, controllable actions.
And as we wrap up our analysis of this material, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Building purely on the framework Nathan Davis has presented today,
Okay.
if he is right, and you truly should adopt the posture of selling it first and then figuring out how to deliver it, how does maintaining a relentlessly full pipeline alter your own psychology?
That's interesting.
Think about your daily operations. If you know with absolute mathematical certainty that your pipeline is packed with high-quality prospects for the next 6 months, does it give you the freedom to take much bigger creative risks in how you serve your clients today?
Because you aren't terrified of losing the one client you have.
Exactly. Does a full pipeline actually make you better at your craft simply because you're no longer operating out of a baseline of fear?
That is a phenomenal question to chew on. Removing fear from the operational equation changes absolutely everything about how we work. We want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope unpacking this source material gives you a powerful new lens through which to evaluate your own systems. Keep exploring, keep challenging the structures of your projects, and most importantly, keep that pipeline full. We will catch you next time.